Can you still lose weight during perimenopause? I feel like I can maintain my weight, but I can't seem to lose any. I'll be perfectly happy just staying where I am, but I'm interested to know if weight loss is still achievable during perimenopause. Yes, yes, it is absolutely still achievable during perimenopause. Perimenopause doesn't make us gain weight. Perimenopause itself doesn't make us gain weight. And it doesn't make weight loss impossible either, but it can make it feel a lot harder than it used to be. And let me tell you why. So, when we hit perimenopause, which is the time period before we hit menopause, and menopause is exactly 12 months since we've last had a period or a cycle. And this perimenopause can last anywhere between 3 months and a decade. And our experience during perimenopause can wildly change. And from person to person, it can be wildly different as well. Some people go through it like a breeze. Some people actually have a really, really tough time. And if that is you, please know that there is help out there as well. And it's always important to talk to somebody and talk to me. And also, please do speak to a GP as well. Anyway, I digress. So our hormones become extremely unpredictable during this time. Estrogen and progesterone in particular are declining, but they're not just declining in a nice, predictable, linear fashion. They are wildly, I keep saying wildly because that is the only way to describe it, wildly fluctuating as well as going down. So when estrogen drops, our appetite can increase, our cravings become a lot stronger, and we might feel a bit less satisfied after meals. So the body's full and satisfied cues don't really work as effectively. Sleep can also be affected because of estrogen declining, which helps us regulate our body temperature and our sleep, but also progesterone, which has a really calming effect on the brain and helps us to engage our parasympathetic nervous system, which tells the body to relax. So as these hormones fluctuate and decline, women experience night sweats, more frequent waking in the night, when you're just absolutely wide awake and can't go back to sleep. You might struggle to get to sleep. You might feel exhausted when you wake up in the morning because your sleep is a lot lighter, and also increased anxiety. Then with poor sleep becomes another problem because sleep is where our hunger hormones are regulated. So it increases the hunger hormone, ghrelin, decreases the fullness hormone, I like our satisfied one, which is leptin. And when we are tired, we're less likely to make good choices. And I'm pretty sure that we've all been there. You're absolutely exhausted. The next day, our cravings are a lot higher or a lot noisier, likely to want to make good choices with our food. And we have increased cravings for foods that are typically either higher in energy, higher in calories, or higher sugar, more palatable foods, because our body is saying, hey, I need energy and I need it right now, thank you. And those are the foods that tend to give us that and give us a quick hit of energy fast. So it makes healthy choices and choices that would actually be aligned with our goals and what we actually need, what we actually need, a lot more tricky, a lot harder. So we've got lower energy, our sleep's poorer, our hormones are all over the place. Also, this tends to be a time when we've got a lot of stresses. We've got a lot of stresses like you might have kids and also aging parents that we're trying to look after. You might be working full time. You might be in the peak of your career, all whilst trying to juggle being a mum, a daughter, maybe a sister at this really, really tricky time in 2026 when there are so many demands in lots of different ways as well. Not to mention, social media saying, right, buy this, do this, try this supplement. And it just becomes so stressful, so overwhelming, and so noisy. We've also got the fact that our muscle mass is declining naturally with age. So that's called sarcopenia. And that happens from about the age of 30 if we don't do anything about it. So if we are not regularly strength training, and I'm talking 3 times a week, absolute bare minimum twice, but 3 times a week, using resistance, using weights, using barbells, getting the weight up, strength work, and of course, allowing our muscles repair. So creating a stimulus on the muscle by strength training, challenging the muscle, then helping it by eating protein and hydrating sufficiently as well, and just making sure your body is fueled. That's going to help tackle this loss of muscle mass. And our lean muscle mass is linked to our metabolism, but a lot of people over exaggerate that effect. And really, we want to keep as much lean muscle mass as possible for healthy shape, for our bone density, and just for our independence in later life. You might not appreciate it now, but trust me, trying to rebuild independence later on in life is going to be a heck of a lot harder than just doing a little bit and often now. So this is what we really, really want to do. We want to be independent. We want to, and also for now, feel stronger, feel confident, feel good, and be able to do everyday tasks easy. To be able to lift up something. I'm thinking of my example, lifting up the pram into the car, or lift your child or your grandkids up in the air. You want to be able to bring your shopping in or run up the stairs. You want to be able to do this. So anyway, we're stuck in a cycle. We're stuck in a cycle of hormonal changes, poor sleep, having lower energy, maybe moving around less because one, we don't have the energy, and two, we feel like there's too much to do and we don't have time. More cravings, maybe more food noise, then eating more, or not necessarily eating more, but making poorer food choices, which inevitably leads to weight gain. The hormones do not magically create body fat, but they influence our behaviors that affects our calorie balance. Now, some people say, yeah, but your metabolism slows when you get older. Yeah, it can slow slightly with age, but that tends to be a lot later in life than people would have first liked to thought. The change is largely linked to the loss of muscle mass rather than actually menopause itself. But anyway, let's park that to one side because it's really, really minimal. Let's focus on the things that we can control and things that we can do. Strength training. Why? Helps us maintain our lean muscle mass. It supports our metabolism. It supports our bone health. It helps our independence. And actually, it also helps improve insulin sensitivity. And the women I see doing best with their weight loss goals during this time are doing the following things. They're strength training regularly, using resistance 3 times a week, or at least twice a week. If you follow our timetable, got you covered. You might want to add one more strength on in there, but even things like, say when we're doing Pilates, there's a real element of strength there. Although I would not rely on that for your strength training. Use resistance at least twice a week. Eating enough protein and at regular intervals. They're fueling their bodies. Daily movement and walking, getting in enough steps. So aiming on average 7,500 steps plus per day. If you're sedentary in the week with work, you don't have time, okay, pull it up at the weekend. They manage their stress the best they possibly can. Easy to say, hard to do, I know. But just knowing what helps you when you're experiencing stress, the things that you and your body need versus things that aren't helpful. And prioritizing sleep where possible, even though, yes, I know it's more difficult when you're waking up in the middle of the night or you're in a pool of sweat or you're really struggling to get to sleep in the first place. And what I would say with that, if that is you, there are a few things that you can try that some people really, really swear by. Evening meditation, evening yoga, trying magnesium, making sure that you're consistent with your sleep and wake times. That's the most important thing anyone can do anyway. Also, above all, don't stress too much about it because that just causes stress. So if you've had a rubbish night's sleep and you're waking up the next day thinking, I'm starting the day on the back foot, it doesn't have to be that way. Focus on things that you can control. Start your day with a workout. That's going to give you instant energy for the rest of the day. Hydrate and know that you're going to want to make not as good food choices. So now knowing that and knowing that doing that won't serve you or serve your body, you ultimately put the power back in your hands to go ahead and make some good food choices. Whenever you're faced with a choice, protein first, and then just think about what can I add into my body? What is important? So essentially, weight loss is absolutely achievable during perimenopause. It might just require a little bit more working out what you need and a bit more patience. But also, if you get to a healthy weight, you're in perimenopause, you're maintaining it while you're fit, you're strong, you're healthy, it's a huge win. So it can feel like our bodies are working against us, but just understanding what your body needs in this chapter to work with your body rather than constantly trying to fight it is the most important thing you can do. And what I would also say as well is be in a moderate calorie deficit. A lot of women just try and do the extremes here, where in actual fact, if we drop our weight too rapidly, our body is not only going to be losing body fat, but it's going to be losing a lean muscle, which we want to keep. So aim for 1 to 2 pounds weight loss max per week, no more than that, and make sure you're adequately strength training. That's really, really important.